coming off of APFC 22, a successful night in the office. We are joined by the one and only putting the Barber Gabe in Barber Gabe's Fades. Obviously, the interview is brought to you by them. Check them out. 100 Coors Boulevard Northwest, Suite 107 at Lobo Plaza. It's barbergabesfade.net. Best place to book your appointment so you don't have to wait with the big line that's always in the shop. Dude, you're coughing still. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing a lot better than I was.
You look like death at the weigh-ins, and I think that's probably, and having to hit the inhaler, the appropriate place to start. People saw fight night. People saw your victory over Roberto Valenzuela, but there was a lot more behind the scenes and a lot more that led up to last Sunday.
Yeah, so I was sick. I had the flu and pneumonia during that fight. But I mean, we worked way too hard to pull out. I mean, we don't pull out of fights, with SFS. We don't do that type of stuff. And although I didn't get the victory the way I wanted to or the way I planned to, I was still pretty happy that that I got the victory against a tough opponent.
When did you notice that something had crept in and your body was starting to be attacked, that you weren't feeling well?
I would probably say the the night after we left Las Cruces from Empire MMA,
So
the
that
weekend
was
before.
the Saturday before your fight. So you're like a week out, a full 7
Yeah,
days, and you're starting to feel this cold, this flu building up on you.
yeah. Whenever I was driving out there, I was kind of feeling like a little sluggish, a little sick. I was thinking maybe that camp was just kind of taking a toll on me. Been in camp for quite some time, and I was kind of really thinking about it. And then the night of the fights, I just started feeling extremely sick and really weak. And then fight week, I didn't really get a train at all. I was barely breathing. I was coughing and just it was bad. That's why that was another reason why I had a kind of like a little hard time making weight this time, was just because I didn't really get a train the last week out, and usually make weight perfect, because camp was amazing. Camp was phenomenal, leading into fight week, I was just freaking sick bad.
I think it was 188, somewhere around in that neighborhood where you weighed in the first time.
Yeah, I was 188 first time, which on all of our other scales I was about like 187 already. So I was like, all right, I'm good. If I need to, I can use a 2 pound allowance. um but when we got there, I was a little heavy still, so I went to the spa at Isleta and cut that weight, went back up there, made it, and just try to rehydrate. And the thing that sucked was even after I weighed in, I did not have an appetite. I didn't want to drink nothing. I couldn't hold nothing down. I was just consistently throwing up. Even though I didn't have anything in my body, I was like just like dry heaving, I guess you could say, or just like, I don't know the right word or term.
No, that's the right one.
Okay.
Did you ever think about pulling out at that point? You're dry heaving after the process. It sounds like the process itself, and you've been a wrestler. This sounds like this was a pretty grueling process just to get to that 188 this time.
No, we never thought about pulling out. Me and Freddie never had the conversation about that at all. Um, you know, I I knew that I was prepared even on my worst day to win, and so did my team. My team knew that no matter what was in my way, I was still gonna be able to get that win, whether I was as sick as I was or I was injured. So never crossed our minds.
How long is the dry heaving, the sickness? Do you just eventually go to bed? Like, what is that night like for you before the fight?
Oh man. So I didn't even go to sleep until about 4:30 or 5 in the morning after weigh-ins. I just couldn't sleep. Luckily, I stayed at the casino, so I was able to just kind of get up, I guess, and just go downstairs and check in with the commission. But I had a pretty bad night that night. I just could not sleep. I was just coughing and couldn't breathe and trying to go to sleep, trying to rehydrate, So being sick and dehydrated plus the weight cut, it was just there was a lot of different factors that were just not going my way that night.
I was joking with you backstage because you had your blankie with you, but we understood why. You were under the weather. You were trying to stay warm. What was fight night like? Checking in and still feeling that bad, and it was quite a card. And for you being at the later end of the amateurs, we all checked in at the same time. You were there for a few hours, just having to, unfortunately, just kind of live in that area, feeling bad and watching everyone else prepare.
Um, I honestly just wanted to go to sleep. Like I was tired, but I couldn't sleep, and I was pretty calm the whole night, I wasn't feeling no nerves. I was just kind of like, all right, I know I'm prepared. I know no matter how I'm feeling, my mind is stronger than what my body's feeling. And I had confidence in my preparation that I was gonna be okay, regardless of how I was feeling. But I definitely wanted to I definitely wanted to try to fight sooner. It's always nice to fight a little bit later on the card because it kind of makes you feel like a little more important, I guess you could say, or something. But I would have liked to fight a little bit earlier because right after my fight, I think I sat down and watched 2 to 3 more fights, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. I went upstairs to my room and try to fall asleep.
What was the shakeout like? What's the preparation? What was that warm up like in the back as you're feeling this awful and it's your time. It's time to get off the chair. It's time to start getting warm.
Um, it was pretty normal. I would say, I definitely was feeling more so out of breath, like a lot easier, but not tired, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. Like I wasn't tired or like exhausted, but like it was very hard to breathe. Very, very hard to breathe. And even at the end of the fight, you could see like when they're trying to announce the winner, I'm just breathing out of my nose, and I'm not tired. I wasn't exhausted or tired. My cardio was good, but like if I was to breathe through my mouth or take a deep breath, I would have been on that freaking I would have been in that cage having a cough attack where I couldn't breathe. I had to get oxygen after the fight. Actually, the doctor gave me oxygen to help me breathe for a little bit.
Wow. So it's the flu game. This is Jordan, the flu game in Utah. What happens when the music hits, when they're telling you to walk out? Did it feel any different? Did the mindset, the adrenaline, any of that stuff start to take over as your music's hitting and you're walking out?
Yeah, as soon as my music hit, I mean, I actually tried to tell the production, I was like, I'm not gonna go out of the curtain until my music starts. And they're like, no, you gotta stand in front of the curtain and then your music starts. And I'm like, man, I mean, it's my fight. I want to do it the way I wanted to do it. But I love the organization, so I did what they said. But as soon as the music hit, my songs into the groove, and I start feeling myself. I start feeling a little better. The sickness wasn't really in my head, more so just I need to go out there and do what I do best, and show more than a one punch or a one-sided type of fighter. So it was it was it was pretty nice. What I would say is I didn't have the energy to do like my showboating that I usually do. Cause I mean in any fight I in every one of my fights I like to put on a show. And like perfect examples in the fight were when I was against the cage and he was hitting me in my stomach, and the commentators and everybody was like, "Oh, those ones he's hitting him pretty hard, this and that." And I didn't feel a thing. And in my head, I wanted to go like this, like whoa, to the cameras or something, but like my energy for that was just not there. Or when I cut him open and he started to back up right before I took him down, I wanted to point at him and like smile, and say like I got you, but like I just didn't have that energy in me that night from being sick. Usually I do, I just didn't have the energy to do that. I was just like I need to get this done and stick to the game plan and try to go get some rest after this.
It's been a long camp, but you work on a game plan. You instill that game plan. You've had it in your mind, and then you feel this bad. Was that still the game plan and more or less the implementation of how you wanted the fight to look? You struck a little bit. We went to your wrestling. You, like you said, cut him open, a new cut. It seems like for Roberto, it's been a bad night in the office each time the APFC walking away with new stitches. But was that what you wanted the fight to look like?
Um, yes and no. Yes, in the sense of I wanted to show that I could wrestle, I can grapple. They always mention that I have the tattoo on me, but I haven't showed it yet. So it was nice to be able to show some of my wrestling, but it was a disappointment to myself that I didn't finish the fight. I felt like I just didn't have that energy to kind of push a little bit more of that pace that I knew that I could. I guess you could say I was a little worried that if I did get fatigued, that I wasn't going to be able to breathe because I knew that when I start to breathe harder, I start coughing and I start throwing up, and if I throw up in the middle of the fight, they're gonna call it, So I was being kind of conservative with it, but I mean, overall, I would say I'm pretty happy with the performance.
We saw a lot more of your kicking game. The low kicks were a big instrument for you on the night. Was that part of the plan to really soften up the legs of a guy that the first time we saw him, I thought, oh, this guy's a boxer?
Yeah, I have really good leg kicks. I just haven't. I think I haven't really implemented them a lot. I've implemented them when I first fought Dylan Matthews because he was so tall. I kind of had to like switch up my game plan with him because I just couldn't hit him in his head. And from that, Freddie was like, "Yeah, we should probably start working on those a little bit more." And I don't know, we knew that he was a dangerous opponent everywhere in reality. He's a tough dude. He's not gonna just give up. So we just prepared for everything and just wanted to really showcase the full skills.
You're the only one that could tell us how bad the weight cut was, how sick you were all week, how sick you were all night. Taking all of that into accord, you're beating yourself up a bit. How do you feel about the performance overcoming that kind of a week and still digging down, gutting out a victory?
Um I would say that I showed myself that I'm pretty mentally strong, that I mean I knew I was, but this kind of reassured it to myself and to anybody around me that did know what was going on, that um even on my worst night these guys can't beat me. And I truly believe that that was one of my worst nights, and it just I came out of the cage unscathed. I don't have a black eye, don't have cuts, no nothing, no bruises, no nothing. So I would say it was a pretty successful night. Just not the way I wanted to have the fight go. I wanted to finish. I always want to get to finish.
What was the feedback from the team? What did you hear from the coaches?
Just extremely proud of me that I finally showed my wrestling, that I finally wrestled in a fight. Because I do it all the time in sparring, and that's truly, I'm a wrestler. I could kickbox, I could stand up with anybody that I fight, but my team was just extremely proud of me and very very happy with my performance. And hopefully we get some good opportunities in the future.
That's back to back dubs at 85. What does that mean to you?
It means that I think I deserve a title shot. I'm gonna be honest. I would love to have the opportunity to fight for a title, especially with APFC, because their middleweight champion hasn't been active, and the last time he fought, he actually went to a different organization and he lost. So I think it's time that they give New Mexico the opportunity to get another belt, but this time as an amateur belt.
Okay, well, who are you fighting then for that belt?
Whoever.
Did you think anybody on the card? I'm probably going to say I think it might be Jacob Snowink, just because of the fact that it looked like Clinton Whitmore's foot blew up like a balloon after his fight. That I think that you and Snowink might be the two healthiest able to compete for that title, at least out here in the Southwest.
Yeah, I would say so. Him, Clinton, or Jacob. Either way, I would love to share the cage with them. They're both badass fighters. I've trained with Jacob a few times, and he's a good dude. Clinton's a really good dude. So it would be really, those two fights would be really entertaining fights. I know the fans would love to see that.
The game is about growing and evolving. And in that thought process, what's next? What do you got to do? What do you want to work on next? Where do you feel like you got to get back to the gym and improve on?
Um, I would just say in everything, this game is consistently changing. Uh, and I want to be able to adapt with the sport. The sport has changed from even just last year to now. So overall, I would just want to focus on everything and just kind of keep putting the pieces together before we make that jump to the pro level.
Barber's R Us Beard Balm. And don't forget, you need stickers, you need a banner, you need hats, you need shirts, you need a logo design. I'm not even sure if I'm listing everything, but all of that at Zia Prince. And you get a hold of Barber Gabe to take care of all of that stuff. And believe me, from the hair to the beard to the printing job, everything is top quality. Thank you again for joining my fight show tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.